Chapter 7, How Could I Let You Die So Easily? Gao Weiwei's mouth hung open in utter disbelief. He, Xiao Tian's, had truly appeared at her most desperate moment. He was really here. In an instant, tears streamed uncontrollably down her face. Outside the car window, Xiao Tian stared intently at Gao Weiwei, tears rolling down his face as well. It had been more than 5 years since he last saw this woman, the woman who once pulled him out of the darkness, the woman he deeply hurt, and the woman who gave birth to his daughter. What? How is this possible? Shen Yuxuan, who had just turned around, unwilling to see Gao Weiwei being taken away, suddenly snapped back to her senses. Then she saw something that would remain the most unbelievable and unimaginable scene of her entire life. A man had used his body to forcefully stop a speeding car, a car moving at full speed. Shen Yuxuan stood there in shock, staring at the scene in front of her, at the mysterious man who had stopped Zhou Jie's car. In the next moment, a thought that even she didn't dare to consider floated into her mind: could this man be Xiao Zhao's father? Bang! With a loud crash, Zhou Jie's Mercedes fell from mid-air, its hood deeply dented, smoke rising from the vehicle, and the wheels coming to a complete halt. The windshield shattered completely, leaving no obstruction between Xiao Tian's and Gao Weiwei. Zhou Jie quickly scrambled out of the car, staring at Xiao Tian's in terror. Stammering, he said, "Wh. Who are you? What do you want? Don't mess with me. My dad is Zhou Zhenghao, the wealthiest man in Xinjiang. He's got enormous power, so you'd better not mess with me. Help! Someone, help!" Zhou Jie shouted toward the 2 cars behind him. But Xiao Tian's ignored the terrified Zhou Jie. His gaze remained fixed on Gao Weiwei, the woman who had given up almost everything for him, whose life had nearly been ruined because of him. A deep sense of guilt surged within him. In a hoarse voice, Xiao Tian's finally spoke, "I'm sorry. I came too late. You and Xiao have suffered so much. I'm so sorry." Xiao Tian's. Gao Weiwei's eyes were filled with complex emotions as she looked at the man in front of her. This man, who she had thought about cursing and beating countless times over the past 5 years, stood before her now. She wept uncontrollably. At that moment, Shen Yuxuan, who had run over, was also dumbfounded. Her earlier suspicion was confirmed: this was indeed the man who had caused Gao Weiwei 5 years of pain. Just as Shen Yuxuan was about to speak, she noticed a large group of men armed with knives and bats rushing from the 2 cars behind them. "Run!" Shen Yuxuan shouted urgently at Xiao Tian's. Realizing that the mysterious man was indeed Gao Weiwei's partner, Zhou Jie's fear quickly turned into a murderous rage. Now that his underlings were arriving, he regained some confidence. With a grim expression, he pointed at Xiao Tian's and roared, "Kill him! Kill him!" As soon as Zhou Jie gave the order, the group of thugs behind him charged at Xiao Tian's, brandishing their weapons and aiming for his head and chest. "No!" Gao Weiwei screamed when she saw the thugs attacking Xiao Tian's, who was still standing there in a daze. She shouted frantically at him, but he remained motionless. Just as the first thug with a baseball bat reached Xiao Tian's and swung at his head, Xiao Tian's finally moved. He grabbed the bat with one hand and, with a swift counterattack, sent the thug flying backward. Bang! In an instant, the thug was launched into the air by Xiao Tian's strike. Then, Xiao Tian's began walking slowly toward Zhou Jie. "Attack! Kill him! Kill him!" Zhou Jie, growing more fearful after witnessing Xiao Tian's strength, swallowed hard and frantically urged his men forward. But it was useless. No matter how many men charged at Xiao Tian's, he sent them all flying with ease. He was walking slowly, but steadily, toward Zhou Jie, his anger rising. If it weren't for the fact that he wanted Zhou Jie to suffer a more painful fate, he could have killed him already. But how could he let Zhou Jie die so easily? After all, Zhou Jie had dared to harm his daughter. Xiao Tian's was going to make sure Zhou Jie understood that even death would be a luxury. And not just Zhou Jie, the entire Zhou family would pay the price. After all, the wrath of a god of war had been unleashed. Bang! 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 Xiao Tian's continued moving forward, effortlessly knocking away anyone who stood in his path. Soon, he was standing in front of Zhou Jie. Why you, don't come any closer. My dad is Zhou Zhenghao. If you touch me, he'll never let you go. Do you want money? I'll give you money. 1 million? 10 million? 1 billion? Zhou Jie rambled, but before he could finish, Xiao Tian's swung the bat and broke Zhou Jie's right leg. Zhou Jie collapsed to the ground, screaming in agony. Gao Weiwei and Shen Yuxuan, who had finally come to their senses, were horrified by the scene before them. They could feel the killing intent radiating from Xiao Tian's and hurried over to pull him away. Xiao Tian's, stop. Please don't do this. Gao Weiwei, with tears streaming down her face, begged him desperately. But Xiao Tian's seemed oblivious to their pleas. He continued striking Zhou Jie, breaking his arms and legs one by one, until Zhou Jie lay on the ground, drenched in blood and barely conscious. You're dead. My family won't let you get away with this, one of the thugs tried to threaten Xiao Tian's, but when Xiao Tian's glanced in his direction, he immediately turned and fled. It's over. Shen Yuxuan, who had grown up in Qianjiang, stood frozen. She couldn't believe that Xiao Tian's had just crippled Zhou Jie, the sole heir of the powerful Zhou family. There was no way the Zhou family would let Xiao Tian's go. Xiao Tian's coldly remarked, "Do you really think someone like him would have let it go, even if I hadn't acted?" Ha! Shen Yuxuan had no response to that. Gao Weiwei, trembling, got out of the car and, after a moment of shock, her face turned pale. Xiao Tian's, Xiao Xiao is still in their hands. You have to save Xiao Xiao. She's your daughter, your biological daughter. Gao Weiwei cried out in desperation. Xiao Tian's calmly replied, "Don't worry, she's safe. 2 hours ago, I already rescued her. She's sleeping soundly right now." As he spoke, Xiao Tian's paused before adding, "Really, she's fine." Ah! Hearing the certainty in his voice, Gao Weiwei couldn't hold back any longer. She collapsed into Xiao Tian's arms, sobbing uncontrollably. She had been holding back for so long, living in fear and worry for far too long. Zhou Jie is the only heir to the Zhou family, and his father, Zhou Zhenghao, is the wealthiest man in Qianjiang. Many powerful people owe him favors. You both need to leave now. Leave Qianjiang quickly. Shen Yuxuan urged, her face filled with anxiety. Gao Weiwei finally snapped out of her daze and, pulling away from Xiao Tian's, begged him, "Yes, Yuxuan is right. Xiao Tian's, you need to leave now. Quickly." Xiao Tian's remained silent for a moment before taking a deep breath and saying, "I'm sorry. I didn't know you were pregnant back then. I truly didn't know. I'm so sorry." His eyes reddened further, the guilt in them growing more profound. "Leave now, please. Do it for me, okay? Leave." Gao Weiwei pleaded through her tears. Shen Yuxuan rushed over, urging Xiao Tian's to escape. "Listen to her. You need to go. Now. Zhou's men will be here any minute. They have a casino nearby. Go, I'll handle things here." Xiao Tian's remained silent. With his status, eliminating not only the Zhou family but even powerful organizations abroad was well within his reach. What was a second-tier family like the Zhous to him? Nothing. He was about to reassure Gao Weiwei when suddenly, a furious voice roared from the distance, "You think you can leave? Do you really think you can escape? Dozens of men appeared from all directions, led by several thugs who had fled moments earlier. A bald man with a scarred face led the charge. Upon seeing this, Shen Yuxuan and Gao Weiwei turned pale. Shen Yuxuan shouted, "Zhou Zhenglong! Don't do anything rash." Zhou Jie started this. "My father will be back tomorrow, don't act rashly." "Uncle, save me." Zhou Jie, lying at Xiao Tian's feet, whimpered pathetically. The scar-faced man, Zhou Zhenglong, sneered. "Humph. Your father, Shen Qingtian, might have a say with me, but who do you think you are? Someone dared to hurt my family and you expect me to just let them go."